So analyze requirement, we're just talking about how to ask the right question and get the answers to the questions, like what must change, who are the target audience, what is their problem, how are we going to help change their situation, how are we going to address those problems, what should we do to help change their workflow, help support their work, support their lifestyle, and what must change, what should be changed from now. It's again like the tool and the technique that we talked about: stop, start, keep. So stop doing things which are not helpful, start doing things which we have not done so far, and also try and keep doing things which we have been doing for some of the tasks which are good, which are continuing. And what is missing, what is a gap, what is the thing that we have not been doing? Again, the same thing: what must change, what must not change, what is missing. So what, again, stop, start, and keep. What is necessary, what are the kind of constraints and assumptions, what should we do, what should be the next steps, how should we go about doing that? All of these questions that we have in our mind, we need to start addressing those during the analysis phase. And then the other bit is about representation of the requirements and the attributes. So we need to have, when we did the elicitation exercises, all the techniques, interviews, workshops, prototyping, questionnaires, and all those other techniques that we have done, we've got all those insights and also the findings that we got from there, the results from those elicitation exercises. What we need to do is to cull, is to actually take and derive the key insights from there, and those would form the essential requirements for your product. So that's going to lead the way for you, so that you have a bearing, you have a baseline on which you can stand, and you can understand what is required of you to start. Where should you start? How should you address those problems? And it should be mentioned in enough detail, just so that you can start looking at those in terms of not just the functionality, but also the non-functional requirements like performance, security, reliability, scalability, and maintainability, all of those LATs, interface requirements. And again, after that, the most important aspect is to address what level of granularity should you try and mention these requirements. Should they be really high level? Should they be really detailed? Or what is that just enough detail for you at this stage? So that's where, again, in the context of Agile, we talk about epics being very high level, and then user stories being that kind of middle level. And then from the user stories, we start writing up the acceptance criteria, create tasks, technical tasks, which are actually deeper detailed. So basically, that's the kind of abstraction we're talking about. Are you talking about features, themes, epics, stories, tasks, technical tasks, acceptance criteria, test cases, and so on and so forth? So this kind of, again, the sense of abstraction, this hierarchy of the depth of how much how deeper can you really go in terms of the specification of that. So it's important that you mention this granularity, or the sense of level of detailing, not based on your own whims and fancies as a BA, but you should try and base it on the target audience and their needs and their goals. And that's why it's important that you understand who you are addressing these requirements to. Is it the stakeholders, is it the business, is it the technical team, is it the development team, is it the infrastructure team, the operations team, or even the customers or users, to get a hang of what they are making a sense of these requirements. So you should try and understand this target audience, so that you can try and structure your messaging according to that. So we need to really have a sense of different perspectives based on, as we just discussed, is it for business, is it for technology, operations, marketing, customers, infrastructure, all of these, whatever it could be. You're trying to structure your requirements to suit the needs, goals, and objectives of each of these different set of stakeholders. And we need to take special care to maintain what is the real crux of these requirements. What is the intent behind the requirements in terms of coming up with models, or coming up with different traceability aspects, or looking at the different perspectives within the requirements, or coming up with wireframes. It doesn't matter. So end of the day, the key deliverable when it comes to requirements is to make sure that you're defining the what, you're defining the functionality, the non-functional aspect of it, but it's it's not the implementation, it's not the how view of that, it's the what, the why, the when, and the where. The how bit is basically the implementation, the design, the solution, the architecture. So that needs to be really very well maintained across the entire set of life